That dog character is so weird. And just, I don't know whether it showed up in any of Naughty Dog's earlier games, but it certainly doesn't show up in any of their later games. I've got to fix the aspect ratio on my screen because my telly is too stupid to work it out for itself. I'll leave it to play the intro cutscene because it does not play if you just start the game.
But Dr. Cortex, we have not determined the cause of past failures. Moron! This Bandicoot will be my general, and he will lead my Cortex commandos to world domination. This time I shall reign triumphant. We are closer than ever before. Quickly, into the vortex! But Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do. Failure again. Capture him! Uh-oh. Prepare the female Bandicoot.
It's a pretty thin on the ground introduction to the plot. Right, well, this game is a bit of a nightmare. I've been talked into playing it again. I will not get this finished promptly for multiple reasons. So clearing this game any percent is pretty straightforward. There are later levels that are somewhat challenging. What have I got? Stuff like Slippery Climb and the lab are not trivial. But for the most part, just getting to the final boss is not the worst thing in the world. Most of the problems with this game come down to the gems. So the way that the gems work are you've got to clear the level, breaking all the boxes, which is true for all the graphical games, except in Crash 1. They have the additional stipulation that you also need to do that without losing a life over the course of the level. What have I got? Can I get to the box bridge before this runs out? Oh, I've died. Right, well, I'm not going to get the gem on this run through then, so let's stop bothering trying. What have I got? I thought I recalled that if you have the mask, the triple mask, you can just run over the bridge and it's pretty small as you go. But clearly I'm wrong. We'll go the easy route then. Yeah, so that's the gem system, which you need to have collected all the gems to get 100% clear. The other taxing thing about this game is the save system. So, annoyingly, the game does not let you just save at arbitrary points. You have to save. There's two ways of saving. If you get a collectible, it gives you the opportunity to save, or there are bonus stages that you get unlocked by getting 3 tokens in a level. And one of those styles of bonus stages does allow you to save, which is the tournament bonus stages. this level, we can't get the box gem on this particular playthrough anyway. Because this is one of the levels that has a separate path that's only accessible with a gem, which are way more common in this game than any of the later Crash games. Also, the gem paths literally just take to boxes. Like this gem here, which fades out when you get close to it. All it does is it takes you up to the higher level of this room, where there are like 2 boxes, and that's it. There's nothing else up there besides the 2 boxes that you need. Which is a bit annoying. I didn't know I hit that. So the bonus stages are a bit weird in this game. There are 3 types of bonus stage. There's the Torna ones, which are these ones. There's the Brio ones and the Cortex ones. So the Torna ones give you an opportunity to save. The Cortex ones, of which there are only 2, unlock a key that puts you into one of the hidden levels. And the Brio stages are purely for shits and giggles. There's no reason to do them in terms of... Oh, great. In terms of actual requirements. By the way, if when you enter a bonus stage, the place where you enter it turns into a checkpoint. So... yeah, there's no incentive to do the Brio stages whatsoever. Apart from if you just want to use it to gather up lives. But if you die in a bonus stage, it doesn't cost you a life, but you can't go back in it on that playthrough of the level. And if it's a Torna bonus stage or a Cortex bonus stage, you can only use it once. After you've cleared it, it never shows up again. The final box for the tokens just remains permanently a checkpoint, and that's it.
What have I got?
A lot of this stuff changes in Reignited Trilogy. So in Reignited, they make it so that you can save anywhere for starters, like anywhere on the map screen you can save at any point you want, which is similar to the later 2 Crash games. Which then means that the Torna bonus stage wouldn't have a point. So what they do to counterbalance that is they make it so that the boxes in the bonus stages now count towards your box total for the purpose of getting gems. Which means it's no longer the case that the bonus stages are optional, they're now mandatory for getting the gems, including the Brio ones, which previously were purely optional.
What have I got?
They also remove the requirement to have to clear the level without losing a life, only for the levels that give you clear gems. If the level gives you a coloured gem, you still have to clear it without losing a life. Which sounds generous, except 2 of the levels that give you coloured gems are the hardest levels in the game. So, unfortunately, you're not being spared that much. So yeah, a lot of the bonus stages, especially later on, do become a bit rude in terms of like if you want to break all the boxes, they're not easy to do, but and here we get to see the you didn't break all the boxes screen. The more boxes you miss, the more Crash increasingly cowers under a never-ending hailstorm of boxes. Another thing I have a vague recollection of, I can't think of a specific example, but I'm pretty sure the save system, because it's got a password-based save system as well, the game doesn't actually save like a direct readout of your current status of the game. Instead, it's got a collection of like predefined states the game can be in. Oh wow, that was that can mean that even if you save your game, you could load your game up and find that you lose progress. I'm pretty sure I've had that happen to me once. I want to say it was on the third island. There was a level that I cleared. I think it was a level that had a key in it. I got the key, quit out after that, and then found that the level then wasn't saved as cleared. So here's a question that would be interesting to find out the answer to, which we may have the opportunity to do depending on how I do on the rest of this level. In the Insane trilogy, if you only lose the eligibility for clearing the level in one life if you restart at a checkpoint. If you die before you collect the first checkpoint, it doesn't count against you. Now my recollection is that's also true in this version of the game as well, but it's been so long since I played it that I'm not 100% sure. Now I have already had a death in this level, but it was at the start of the level before I collected a checkpoint. So does this count? It does. That's generous. Well, there's our first gem. Which, really annoyingly, they did not carry into Crash 4. So Crash 4, they have a lot of the collectibles in Crash 4 are based around you
What have I got?
clearing the level without taking a certain number of deaths. But deaths that take place before you hit the first checkpoint still count, which is really quite annoying. I mean, the good thing about Crash 4 is, in terms of like 100% completion, is that there's not much tied to it relative to these earlier games. Like, there's no, as far as I'm aware, outside of the flashback tapes, there's no hidden levels or anything. Admittedly, the flashback tapes do require you to reach them without taking a death, and while the early ones are like at the very beginning of each level, they, like by the end of the game, I think the flashback tape in Cortex Castle is like right at the end of the level. Don't know. Crash 4 as a any percent game is fine. Crash 4 as a 100% game is just a nightmare. Now, for some reason, this particular level is a level that I routinely got stuck on when I first got this game, which this game came out in, what, 96, 97, I want to say? Well, no, I'm lying. So I didn't get a PS1 at least until after Crash 2 came out, because part of the reason I wanted one is because I'd been to a friend's house and played Crash 2. But I got Crash 1 with my PS1. I didn't actually get my own copy of Crash 2 until later. And yeah, I got stuck on this level for some reason. So I must have been 6 or 7, I want to guess. Which is a really early part of the game to get stuck on. It's quite odd. Anyway, first boss fight. We got here quicker than I expected, actually. Because I kind of expected this would be where I'd get to before I call it a night, but given it's only really taking me, what, less than 20 minutes to get here. Right, you can't hit him. Oh, he's doing his spin. Not a very interesting boss fight. Yeah, maybe we'll just clear the first island then and call it a day.
What have I got?
So here's our first level with a Brio bonus. Although I have a vague recollection. No, I'm lying. Okay, I was going to say I have a vague recollection that you can't get into this Brio bonus without the gem, but that's not true. What it is that one of the Brio bonus tokens is in this stack of boxes here. There. Which means that if you just let that get blown up, you can't collect it, and therefore you don't get to go to the Brio bonus. Which again, in this version of the game is not an issue, because the Brio bonuses don't do anything mechanically. But in Insane Trilogy, that is, you are not getting the gem on that run through. I mean, we're not getting the gem on this run through either, because this is yet another level
What have I got?
that requires a coloured gem to get all of the crates. But might just be because I've not played this game in years, but the way you carry momentum when you bounce off stuff feels a bit odd. I don't know how much the physics model changed between this and Crash 2, because Crash 2 I always think of as like my Crash, if that makes sense. Like that's the one that, well, it's the one I played first at all, and it's the one that I genuinely think is the best of the three of the original trilogy. Well, probably the best overall, quite frankly. Oh, I thought I'd fallen in that hole already. Oh well. Again, we're not getting the gem anyway, because there's stuff down there that we can't get to. Right, are we going to get anywhere with this Brio bonus? No. That's how the Brio bonuses usually go for me in this version of the game. And then you just get kicked out of it. And that's it. In Insane Trilogy, you can attempt the bonuses as many times as you need to. As I say, you need to break all the box in a bonus to get the box gem. You can go into the bonus as many times as you want, and failures do not cost you lives. But, yeah, in this version of the game, because most of the Brio bonuses you need to kind of learn. I mean, that one I just fucked up a jump, but a lot of them do require you to kind of realise what they're asking you to do. There's a bit of a puzzle element to it, which when I played Insane, I always felt like it took a bit of trial and error. You know, spend a few attempts just to get my head around it. In this version of the game, you don't get that luxury unless you replay the whole level. And given that there's no actual collectible tied to it, there's no reason to do that. I missed 2 boxes. And this level is not generous with checkpoints. Oh wait, no, yeah, I had already got a checkpoint. I forgot that I got a checkpoint. Miss that box again. This is something that Naughty Dog do continuously, is they put the boxes in a position where you have to be really, really tight, ducking from one side of the path to the other. They do this in Crash 2 with the polar bear levels. They don't do it so much with the tiger levels in Crash 3. Probably because in reality, the thing with the tiger levels is, especially if you're doing the time trial, you just want to be charging continuously. And it becomes challenging if you want to get all the boxes without ending a charge, is the problem. I've realised I'm taking deaths to get all the boxes. I'm completely forgetting that I need to do it in one life in this game. So I don't even know why I'm bothering. No, it's the Crash 2. I'm thinking of Crash 2 and it's making me think, oh yeah, just keep trying until you get it. It's like, nope, I've got to do it in one go. I mean, that one was just a dodgy hitbox, quite frankly. I seem to be missing like the front of that batch of boxes every time. Again, what is with that hitbox? It's so wide. So when you look at the, when you look at the development history on this game, it's very clear that Naughty Dog were trying to work out how to effectively take the 3D platformers of the early 90s and turn it into a... Sorry, the 2D platforms of the early 90s and turn it into a 3D platformer. And they took a very literal approach to that. Contrast that to, say, something like Mario 64, which tried to reimagine what it meant to be a platformer in a 3D space. And part of why I'm saying that is that it then redresses the hog levels and the boulder levels as effectively being the 3D rendition of a what do you call it? Oh my god, my brain's just broken. A 3D rendition of an auto-scroller, where in something like Super Mario World you can just scroll the screen and just have the player die if they stray too far to the left of the screen, and you don't have to question them. Whereas in 3D space, there isn't just a screen to be scrolled. You can't just push someone forward or back. So they add an element to force you to move, either by a threat that's bearing down upon you, or by putting you into a mode of transport that you don't have control over. That didn't work. Torna is such a non-character in this game, and then she just disappears in the later games, I believe, because the executives at Universal said that it wasn't really appropriate. I mean, that's effectively why Coco got created. It's kind of weird how the modern... I don't think she ever showed up in any of the non-Naughty Dog games either. I could be wrong. Because the only one of those I actually played was Wrath of Cortex, and I've not played that since I first got a PlayStation 2, I don't think. Yeah, it's weird how the more modern remakes have tried to give Torna a bit more personality, which is a combination of the Reignited trilogy kind of giving her a bit more character in the one or two cutscenes she appears in, and especially Crash 4. I mean, admittedly it's a alternate Torna, but still implying something about the original Torna by way of comparison. And that killed me. Great. Oh, come on. boxes. One thing that I did always like about this game, in terms of like attention to detail, world building detail, is just the fact that they do, oh, for God's sake, they do put the silhouette of the later islands in the skybox. I mean, obviously it's not a render, it's a flat texture, but nevertheless it's a nice detail. Oh, for God's sake. Either I'm forgetting something, or these timings are a lot tighter than I thought. Oh, these aren't even synced. I assumed these were synced up to each other like they are in the earlier fortress level. Okay, Jesus. Oh, that went well. I don't know what the timers were like on these things in Insane Trilogy, but these levels are not built for speedrunning as an intention. That's not to say they can't be speedrun, obviously they can, but they're not designed around that. Which ultimately means that actually trying to rush through these levels is just a nightmare, and oh, for God's sake. Yeah, trying to rush through these levels is a nightmare. Which means that the time trials that they added into Insane Trilogy are, for my money, just not all that fun. And given that they are just added into that version of the game, only good for achievements, they're not something I ever bothered with. I did do the time trials in Crash 3 because they required for 105%, which was in the original game, but pretty much anything that wasn't in the original trilogy that they added for Insane, I just didn't bother doing. Call me a purist if you want. Well, given how many lives I've been losing so far in this playthrough, I do not have an awful lot of confidence about getting 100% completion. I didn't point this out earlier. If you hold square or circle, you can rotate your view of the island. Now, there's no way to like elevate your view of the island, so this island, the centre of this island is meant to have like a big tree on it, which is visible in like some of the skyboxes, but we can't see it from where we are. We might be able to see it from the Ripperoo boss fight. The other thing about this particular island is that rather than going from left to right, the level layout goes from right to left. Not the actual levels themselves, but the world map layout. Which they actually changed in Insane Trilogy. They like mirror the entire island, presumably because like if you're trying to just skip through the levels and you just hold right, what happens is you go from the first island to the second island, and then because it switches from left to right to right to left, you just end up effectively oscillating on the first island. Well, on the border between the first and second island, because you just, you know. So I think they mirrored this island just to get rid of that kind of difference in direction. I'm going to have to duck away for a second. Right, I'm back. I might have to go again depending on how things go. think my plan is... So this level has a Torna gem, a Torna thing in it. Then we've got Ripperoo, and then I don't remember whether the level after this has a Torna gem, Torna bone trend even. I don't even quite remember what that level is. Is it Lost City? Or whatever it's called. I'm just thinking if I should just count my losses at this level. I should probably just count my losses at this level. Cut my losses even. That's the phrase, isn't it? Yeah, save here, finish the level, and then call it a night, I think. I would have rather liked to have pushed on and got Ripperoo done, but I don't think it's worth the risk, given that it's already getting relatively late. I know this is not late compared to when I was streaming last night, but last night my daughter was not in the house, and now she is, so... Given that I've just had to go up and settle her down again, and she may wake me up during the night anyway. I don't want to take any risks of dragging the stream out too much. Nope, that still doesn't give enough elevation to actually see the big tree on this island. Can we see it from the other island? Nope. You may be able to see it from Cortex Castle, I'm not sure. Well, anyway, we've seen the whole of one island and the first level of the second island in this game. I've done a pretty bad job of getting gems so far. Most of the levels in the first island you can't get the gem anyway because you need a colour gem to get them, but nevertheless, the few ones I don't need to have a colour gem for, I've still failed to get. Which means that if I end up 100% in this particular save file, I'm going to have to do a lot of backtracking. But that's a problem for another day. Right, that's going to be me for the night.